We'll go ahead and dive right in here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And obligatory ask that folks can see the screen okay. Just a little thumbs up. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, welcome everybody to our letter of intent informational session about our partnership with OPPD with the Greener Together project. So looking forward to diving in today. We'll start off with some introductions. So to start, I'm Allie Willett. I am our Senior Manager of Community Investments here at United Way. I've been with the agency for about a year and 9 months now, and really looking forward to kicking off this new partnership. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Rosalind to introduce herself. And then just as a heads up, we are missing Meg Blue today, but she is our Vice President of Community Investments. And many of you have probably had the privilege of interacting with her already. But if not, I'm sure that opportunity will come throughout the process. So Rosalind, I'll kick it to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosalind Garrett. I'm also a manager of community investments. I've been here for about 3.5 months, so learning a lot and looking forward to meeting you all and working in this process with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rosalind. And then I believe we may have had some folks from OPPD hop on the call. So if you are present and would like to introduce yourselves, I would love to go ahead and open up that opportunity as well.
All right, thanks a lot, Allie. My name is Brendan Gable. I'm the manager of advocacy solutions here at OPPD, and the Greener Together is managed through my department area, and I will turn it over to Natalie for her to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Natalie Kuipers. I'm the product manager for Greener Together.
Awesome. Thank you guys both for being on the call and introducing yourselves. And we may kick some questions over to you if we get them. We will be keeping an eye on the chat. Rosalind will be able to read out some questions if they come up. But please know that Rosalind and I, as well as Meg, are happy to serve as a resource throughout the whole process. If you have anything that's more specific to your project in particular, please feel free to email us with those questions following this call. But we will go ahead and move on here. So just a little bit of background on the Greener Together project. So this is a partnership with OPPD, and we are really grateful to be utilizing both organizations' expertise. So from United Way perspective, we really have the experience in the grant making process and executing that. But OPPD, of course, has the expertise in the energy space. So we are really grateful for the work that they've been doing in this space and for the expertise that they're going to be able to provide throughout this process. The purpose of this project is to support and promote local environmental projects. And then we have a couple of goals. Of course, we want to make impactful investments into some nonprofit partners that are doing some great work in this space. We also want to foster community engagement, not only through the projects themselves, but also through the investment process by utilizing our signature volunteer review process. And then we also want to ensure transparency in fund allocation as always, and as well as through the project execution as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Rosalind. She's going to talk through our investment process. If you have applied for funding with United Way before, you will see that this is fairly similar to the process that we have utilized in the past, but great to have a refresher, and especially for those folks who may be new. Rosalind, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Allie. So the process will start with a letter of intent, which is basically going to be a concise document that expresses your organization's interest in applying for a grant opportunity, as well as providing some background information for the project that you plan on applying for funding for. It's also just a preliminary step before submitting a full application and allows our staff an opportunity to assess whether or not the project is fit for grant funding. Then the next step in the process would be the due diligence meeting, which gives United Way's opportunity to ask questions and for you to provide some clarity around your programming before the final decisions are made about whether or not invitations will be sent out to apply for grant funding. It also gives an opportunity for agencies to ask questions about any step in the process or about how your project might fit within that grant funding. Then there's the application process, and then the review process, which consists of the applications being reviewed by community volunteers, United Way staff, as well as OPPD staff. Those community volunteers can be of varying backgrounds, so they could be individuals with expertise in finance, education, and construction. Following that review process, those recommendations that come from those reviewers go to the board of directors who have the final decision as far as who will be funded and who may not. And then there are the award announcements.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosalind. And here's your next slide.
These are the priority funding areas within this grant, which is renewable energy, which, for example, could be solar panel installation, environmental sustainability, composting and waste reduction, community betterment and education, which could be tree projects or local projects. There will be more information about these funding priority areas within a link within the RFP website, and also in the letter of intent provides more information. And also, as always, like Ali stated, our staff is also available to have conversations with you about which priority area your project might fit in, and those conversations can happen as well during those due diligence meetings.
All right, thanks, Rosalind. So now I have the fun part of showing you our grant management software, WiseHive, and how that works. So bear with me as I walk us through this live here. So to get to Greener Together, you will go to our United Way of the Midlands homepage, so unitedwayofthemidlands.org, and then you will see we have our impact section, and then under investments, you'll find the Greener Together program. Once you click on that, you'll find some more background information about the project. And once you scroll down, you will see the ability to access a couple of resources here. So first, I want to call out, you have the ability to download the full RFP here. Like Rosalind mentioned, that will have a more detailed information on the process and the priorities. And then you can also download the LOI guide here. We really try to be transparent with our partners. And so the LOI guide outlines every single question in the LOI and kind of gives you an overview on what we're looking for those questions. So please feel free to utilize this as a resource, as well as United Way staff. And then once, well, and I guess I'll also point out the timeline for the process is also available here. So we will review it today, but just for easy, quick reference, it's available here on our website. Once you're ready to access the LOI portal, you'll just hit this button here, and it will bring you over to the portal page. If you do not have an account with us through WiseHive, you are able to go ahead and click this sign up button, and then it will just ask for email and password, and then you will fill out some really basic profile information about your agency. If you already have a WiseHive account with us from applying for funding through a different funding stream, you are able to utilize that account. This will just be, it has its own separate URL here. You'll see that you'll use to log in the future. And once we get that out of the way, perfect. All right, so once I have logged into my my LOI page here, you'll see you have the ability to edit profile information. So let's say your agency's mission statement may have changed or anything like that. Please feel free to click into here to edit that information. But assuming everything is all good to go, you will see your agency and your program here, and then you will be able to click this blue LOI intake button. You'll see I've already started my LOI, so I have the ability to edit, but you'll have the ability to start here. So we will go ahead and click edit. And now just a couple of nuanced things. The agency information does pull over directly from your profile. So these facts will pull in from your profile. No need to input that information. Then we'll ask you for your primary contact information. The thing with WiseHive is we only have the ability to have one primary contact per agency. So this should be the person who will be doing a bulk of the work in the software and a bulk of the communication. So for some folks, that may be a designated grant writer. For others, that may be the ED of the agency, totally up to you on your preference. Then you will have a question on if you are intending to apply for the Greener Together program. Please click yes if you would like to move forward in the process. And then we're just asking some really basic project information here. Your project name, how many folks you anticipate to be serving, the amount of funding you intend to apply for, what your total project budget is, and then here is just a 300-word count area to give us kind of a basic overview of the project that you're looking at doing. Then you'll see a question here on the majority of UWM dollars and how they'll be used. One of the great things about these dollars is that general project operating is an option. If you do select that, though, please note that in the application, you will have an opportunity to give us a compelling case to why that amount really does benefit that particular use of funding. And then again, just some really basic information, agreeing to a due diligence meeting, and then your ability to put in a contact for that. So like I mentioned, your primary contact may be your grant writer, but you may prefer to have your project officer be the person who is the point of contact for the due diligence meeting, or your ED. So this can be a separate contact from who you have as your primary contact. Once you've completed filling out the basic information, you'll just hit Save Changes. And then you will hit this green Submit button. It's a little tricky because you'll see complete, but until you hit this green Submit button, we do not have the record submitted on our end to review. So you'll see this green, this has been submitted once you have completed that step. I will note that after today's call, the LOI will be closed. So if you use the link on our website, you will be able to create a profile if you haven't done that yet. But as far as completing an LOI, that process will not open until July 1st. And so speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and head back to our presentation. And Roslyn will share a little bit on the timeline that we're looking at.
So this is the timeline that we will be following during this process. So as Ali stated, the LOI opens July 1st, and those submission deadlines are July 11th. Then we'll have those due diligence meetings between July 21st and July 25th. And then there will be a virtual training for submitting an application on August 1st. Applications will open on August 4th with a submission deadline of August 22nd. And then you'll have those community and staff reviews between August and September, funding announcements in October, and then funding will begin in November.
So that's really the bulk of what we have for you today. Like I mentioned, if you have any specific questions regarding your particular project, please go ahead and reach out to us. If you have a staff liaison, that would either be Roslyn or myself from a different funding stream that you may receive funding through, feel free to reach out to us personally. Otherwise, you can always email our community investment inbox, and we'll make sure that your question gets to the right person. But I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and just see if we have any general questions here that I can answer. Does anybody have anything they'd like to ask?
Hey, Ali, I just have a quick question. Through the Greener Together project, formerly, there was about a limit of $100,000 available for projects. What's the general amount that will be available? Just trying to gauge when we're filling out the LOI, sort of how much is available, so we know what where our ask should land.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Jill. So the range is quite large. So you are able to request funds anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 for this particular project. I see a hand. Yeah, absolutely. I see a hand up from Chris. Any questions, Chris?
Yeah, so those due diligence meetings from the 21st to the 25th, is there any flexibility on scheduling around that? I'm just on vacation that entire week. So
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to work with you on your individual circumstance. So I appreciate that question. But yeah, we we will work with you as best we can, or with somebody else from the agency. So
Great, thank you.
anything else I can help answer today?
And to follow up
Right.
on Jill's question, how much is available overall with this program?
That is a great question, Jill. Does either of the folks from OPBD have an answer on that question?
Hey, sorry about that. My Wi-Fi is not working well. Can you repeat the question?
How much is available overall with this program?
Oh, okay. So this funding cycle, there is approximately $180,000 available to be awarded.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great. Anything else we can help answer today? All right. Well, I'm happy to give folks a couple minutes back into their day. And I appreciate you jumping on the call. And like I said, any questions that come up throughout the process or ahead of the process, please feel free to reach out, and we're happy to answer those and offer any advice that we can. But thank you all for hopping on today, and we will be looking forward to seeing some LOIs soon.
Thank you.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.